Welcome everybody to another edition of Fins Up Podcast. I'm your host Chad Martin along with JC Martin. It's time to break down games we're just about tired of doing this year. The Ole Miss Rebels have already lost 4 games. They're below 500. It's not pleasant. And we really, it makes it to where you almost don't want to do a show because you're having to talk negativity about your team. And that always sucks. And I guess we've gotten spoiled on how good Ole Miss has been the last few years, especially. They've really come on. And so and it's funny because this is really something that we've grown unaccustomed to doing, which is losing. And the way we've been losing, it's not been something that, we've been groomed these last few years as the football program has groomed upwards and trended upwards. The fan base has kind of done the same way, and it usually is that way. And now you're accustomed to it.
Yeah, it got to a point where you were expecting to win games.
That's right.
And I remember before the season, after the NFL draft, really, I was talking with my buddy, and we were talking about, Laquan's gone now.
Yeah.
Robert Kimdichi's gone. Denzel Kimdichi's gone.
Tunsil's.
Laramie Tunsil's gone. Cody Core's gone. And I told him, man, I wouldn't be surprised if this team goes 7-5, 8-4. And at first I was like, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, that's probably pushing a bit. I mean, this is a 9-3, 10-2 type team.
Yeah.
If they were to lose to Alabama and LSU, I would have understood it.
Exactly.
And of course they did lose to Alabama and LSU, but then again they also lost to Florida State and Arkansas again. So now they're 3-4.
Yeah.
At this point, they're just trying to get bowl eligible.
Yeah, and they've got Auburn is coming to town.
And Auburn is looking about as good as any team in the country right now.
Yeah, and they started off, they had a bad start to the season, and they have just turned it completely around. I mean, they were devastating last week against Arkansas. Arkansas, I think, only scored 3 points in their game against Auburn last weekend.
And it's, several weeks back, we had a discussion on the on Sports Clash Radio about coaching change, mid-season coaching changes. And I said that I was not a fan of it. I don't like it. And that was right after Les Miles got fired. But we've seen what LSU has done since then. They're 3-0. It's like it's a new season for LSU. Yeah. They're now undefeated in this new season under Ed Orgeron. But then you look at Auburn and what Gus Malzahn's done. They've turned this program around this season after Gus Malzahn gave up his offensive play calling.
Exactly.
He's kind of set that out and he's having someone else do it now, but Auburn's kind of gotten rolling.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes change is necessary to just spark a team. You need something different if your team is going along and they're just trudging along. And those two programs, I mean, are really taking off, and Ole Miss right now is catching the brunt of that. Talking about catching teams at the wrong time of the season. Ole Miss has managed to do that all season long this year.
Now, it was weird because I think maybe last week before, I was talking about how I don't believe in Auburn, even though they had some wins.
Yeah.
I didn't believe in Auburn using the 2-quarterback system that they use. But, man, let me tell you, Shaun White has impressed me.
Yes, he has.
He's really come alive. And he looks like he is, one of the best, if not the best, SEC quarterback right now. Because Chad Kelly doesn't look the part.
No, he doesn't.
But Shaun White looks the part. And then they do what Texas is doing right now. They're running that 2-quarterback system where they're bringing in John Franklin III.
Yeah.
Of Last Chance U fame. And they're bringing him in. And when he comes in, they're not throwing the ball.
Exactly.
They're bringing him in to run. And even though the other team knows that they're bringing him in to run, they can't stop him. The man's averaging 11 yards a carry.
Yeah, it's insane. Let's talk about Ole Miss LSU real quick. I mean, a game we had a bad feeling about going into it, but mercy. Just a total, complete. I mean, Ole Miss, once again, started out decently. They didn't start as on fire as they've been, but they scored again on the first possession.
First drive, went right down the field, no problem.
And you're thinking, maybe we're seeing the team that can go down here and play. And then they managed to get 17 points. They were down and then tied it up going into halftime. And then second half, they score 0 points. Right. Nothing. A big goose egg.
I mean, as we've seen with Ole Miss all season, they're a first-half team. They actually popped up the graphic before halftime at this game. On TV, they popped up the graphic showing that Ole Miss has either had the lead
or tied,
or have been shared for the top, or the lead has been tied going into half of every one of their games this season. And this game was no different.
Yeah.
It's just when it comes to the second half, they can't finish. I don't know what's happening at halftime, but I mean it's disturbing because it's gotten to the point that their offense does not come out ready to play in the second half.
No, they don't. They come out fired up in the first half. Second half, it's and that's 4 games this season.
Yeah. And in this game, they should have had the momentum because they scored the touchdown to tie it up going into halftime, and they were getting the ball back to start the second half.
And just so many just 3 and outs, no sustained drives. It was all just pathetic. And Leonard Fournette, you would have thought this dude was the second coming of Moses because he was parting that Rebel defense like the Red Sea. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was just, and that was kind of the thing though. His yardage were all big, huge chunk plays. They just could not keep containment, and once they broke containment, that was it. He'd get to the outside and bam.
And that was another thing was that even on plays where he didn't get containment, if he went right up the middle, like Ole Miss basically had to game tackle him because one man wasn't bringing him down.
No, he been possessed.
Of course, we all saw the play where he trucked Deontay Anderson. There's actually a very popular and slightly amusing little meme / viral video going around of Leonard Fournette doing that run, and when he trucks Deontay Anderson actually goes through the ground and a gravestone pops up.
Oh Lord, good Lord, it's not funny, but it kind of is.
I mean, it is. It's clever. I like it.
I mean, but when you're the winning team and you do things like that, you can create stuff like that, and for Ole Miss to be again on the receiving end of a beating, and that's what this was. I mean, Leonard Fournette, he finished with 284 yards on the ground
on only 16 carries.
That's almost as much offense as Ole Miss got the entire game, because Ole Miss only put up 325 offensive yards.
You know, and we talked before the season started, as we were getting ready for the Florida State game, that Ole Miss has to play the 3 best running backs in college football.
Yep.
And I said, and they are in this order: Leonard Fournette, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook. Leonard Fournette proved why he's the best running back in football.
Oh, yeah.
This past Saturday night.
Just looked unstoppable. I mean, it was ridiculous what was going on there. Chad Kelly, he threw for 209 yards, rushed for 56, and it didn't matter. That second half, when they didn't show up in that second half, I mean, their defense played actually better in the second half than they did in the first half because they only gave up 17 points in the second half.
Right.
But still, if your offense is not scoring, and we said this all season, this offense has to score. You cannot play the style of offense they play and not score.
Absolutely.
Or you're going to lose. And that is what's happening. It was just a miserable day, miserable night. My other team lost. My home team lost too, the Longhorns, in another miserable game. So it was just not a lot of fun Saturday.
No, and I've come to the point where this season I just hate football, specifically college football, because my teams are just not doing well.
Yeah, it's not pleasant.
My fantasy football teams are not doing well.
Mine aren't either.
And, I mean, really the only pride and joy I can have in the football this year is the Cowboys, and that's it.
Really.
Like, that's it.
So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, and then you've got a state quarterback leading them. I mean, it's crazy world, man. It's crazy world.
It was a particularly bad week this week, just for the state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
In general in college sports. I mean, Southern Miss is Southern Miss, and we can kind of put that to the side. But Ole Miss, you know, like we said, they got absolutely beaten down by LSU in the second half.
Yeah.
Mississippi State lost a game that they should have won to Kentucky.
Yep.
And then you have, you know, the one good thing going for the state of Mississippi right now, Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
His team had a bye week, so he didn't even play.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the thing. I mean, I'm not a big state fan. Obviously, we're not. We're doing a Fins Up podcast
Right,
because
exactly.
we're all missing. But when it comes to playing outside of our state and other teams, I kind of don't root against my Mississippi, teams unless they're playing Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem rooting against, state players in general. But, when that said state player plays for my professional teams, then I can forgive it. I mean, growing up a Texas Longhorn fan, I forgave it with when the Cowboys drafted Roy Williams, the safety, not the wide receiver. Drafted him out of Oklahoma. So, you learn to forgive real quick when it comes to professional sports.
Yeah. But being this is Ole Miss and just this tragedy we're watching unfold, Shakespearean in its epicness. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then Auburn's coming to town Saturday on a hot streak. I mean, they're just balling out right now. And it's going to be tough because Auburn is now ranked number 15. I remember when the Rebels were ranked. Now, we said they were ranked last week, but a ranking that matters, we've seen this coming for a while. Now they're unranked for the first time in a long, long time. And this is their third straight game against a nationally ranked SEC opponent.
But I mean, this is the SEC, so you should expect that year in and year out.
Exactly. And this is their 5th game of the year where they're going against a top-ranked team.
You can't. The only game. Let's see. Who have they played that wasn't ranked outside of Wofford?
I really don't.
Memphis.
Yeah, it was Memphis. That's right.
So, they played those 2 games, which they were expected to win, and they did win. But outside of the Georgia game, when it's come to a quality opposition, I mean, this Ole Miss team is just massively and depressingly underperformed.
I can't wait for Georgia Southern next week.
Yeah, it'll be a much welcome matchup.
That's what it is. We wish we would have had better news for you guys, but we're going to get you ready for the Auburn game, and we got to do it, so let's take a look at it real quick. The Tigers are number 3 in the nation in rushing offense, which does not bode well for the Ole Miss rushing defense.
And, pieces of that can be inflated considering they ran for like 600 yards this past weekend against Arkansas. But still, I mean, it's an impressive number. You know that when they want to, they can run the football and they can run it efficiently.
Yeah, but, they're averaging 302 yards a game on the ground. Ole Miss, conversely, is only averaging 150 yards per game on offense on the ground.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a huge disparity there.
And Auburn's not going to have much trouble running against Ole Miss. Basically because if you can get past the front 4 for the Ole Miss defensive line, if you can get past that defensive line, when you get to that 2nd and 3rd level, Ole Miss isn't going to tackle you.
Exactly. And it's rough.
I hate saying that, but I mean, that's what they've shown us this year.
Yeah. I mean, Ole Miss is 113th in the nation in rush defense.
Out of 128 teams.
Yeah, I mean, they're allowing 226 yards a game.
So, I mean, I think this raises the question, is it time for Coach Womack to go, our defensive coordinator? I mean, at some point, if you can't stop a nosebleed, then you're not doing your job. Why would the University of Mississippi continue to pay you? I'm assuming his salary is somewhere between the upper hundreds of thousands into the lower millions range.
I mean, that's
why pay someone that much money if they can't do their job?
Yeah, and that's a decision they're going to have to make, and I'm pretty sure you're going to see a change there. Now, they may say, well, our incoming class is going to be this and that.
But now they're having decommits. After this train wreck of a game against LSU, we had a 4-star linebacker, Willie Gay, decommitted the other day after he took a trip to Michigan this past weekend, and of course he walked away impressed.
Yeah.
And now he's letting off of his commitment from the University of Mississippi. So things are definitely not looking good because, as we've talked about ad nauseum, linebacking core is a definite position of need at all 3 spots, outside linebackers and middle linebacker spot.
Yeah.
Willie Gay would have filled a void. He's the number 8 linebacker in the entire country. And that was a big need for this team. They should have had him. But I think how badly this defense has performed this season.
Oh, yeah. Scared him away. And you can't blame the kid because he has aspirations of going NFL. And
he wants to be great.
Yeah. And that's what happens when you have a season like this. Then it becomes a really huge recruiting effort to, after the season's over. It's going to be crazy. I mean,
I think the recruiting class will be fine because if Hugh Freeze has shown us anything in his time at Ole Miss, it's that the man can recruit.
Oh, yeah.
And he's brought in a lot of talent that this university has not seen. I mean, just haven't seen altogether.
Exactly.
Not haven't seen in a long time, but just hasn't seen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they've got it, but man, it's a tough blow losing Willie Gay.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Now, if there is one bright spot on defense, Marquise Haynes is just
absolutely
playing lights out. Oh my goodness. That was the only bright spot in that game last week. He was bringing it. I mean, just getting back there. How many tackles? I thought I had it written down how many tackles for loss he had, but he was just getting, I think it was somewhere like 10 or something like that. I mean, just blowing through the line.
And we saw him absolutely destroy Etling back at LSU. It was a hit in the same vein as the one that he put on Jalen Hurts in the Alabama game. And everyone was talking about now after the hit on Jalen Hurts, well, that should have been targeting. He led with his helmet. No, he didn't. He led with his face mask and put his face mask right in Jalen Hurts' chest.
Exactly.
Same thing with Etling this past weekend.
Perfect.
It's just that Etling carries himself with a higher posture, even though Jalen Hurts is a big guy, 6'4". He kind of carries himself lower.
Exactly.
So he's ready for a hit. Jalen Hurts is, because he's quick. He has a quick twitch. He can get out of the pocket and move. So Jalen Hurts was kind of compacted, so it made it look like a more vicious hit than what. I mean, it was still a vicious hit. But the Etling one, since Etling was postured up so high, Marquise Haynes just absolutely lit his world up.
Well, if there's any key to this game for Ole Miss winning, I think it's very obvious they have to stop the run.
Have to.
If they stop the run, they can control the game and they can win the game.
Yeah.
But if they do not, it's game over.
You have to make Sean White pass the ball.
Yeah.
Which now, at the beginning of the season, that was like, oh man, if we can force Sean White to pass the ball, we've got this. But now Sean White's playing out of his mind because his running game is so efficient. And
goes hand in hand.
Right. Now it looks like it's just going to be a tough game all the way around. If there's one thing Ole Miss fans don't want, and that's the Auburn Tigers coming into their backyard and handing it to them.
Yeah, so what's your prediction for the game? What are you thinking? I'm all over the place on this one.
I'm saying Auburn scores 38, Ole Miss 27.
I'm going to do probably 34 to, oh my goodness, maybe 27.
34-27, 38-27. I'm giving it to Auburn.
I am too. I just don't see the way that defense is playing. I'm one of these guys who I love to pick my team every week unless it's just one of those unavoidable things, but I just don't see how that's going to play. The way they're playing right now, I just don't believe in the team with what they're putting out on the field these last couple of weeks. You've got to play 60 minutes. We preach this the entire season. It's just how football is. You have to play the entire 60 minutes. You cannot let up on a team at any level.
And Ole Miss will be fine for the first 30.
Yeah.
They've shown that much.
It's the second half that concerns me, and it should concern everybody out there. How will this team respond? And that's going to be the big challenge for these coaches. How are they going to get their guys up? How are they going to respond to these last 2 weeks? They've been down. It's been tough. If they can get the team up, if the team can play with a huge, and I'm not even a chip, but a mountain on their shoulder, because they're going to have to. They're going to have to play pissed off to win this game, in my opinion. That's the only way they'll do it. And Chad Kelly's going to have to be perfect. And they're going to have to. You can't, when you get under pressure, just toss the ball up and think, well, my guy's going to run and get it anyway. You can't do that.
And Chad, I've preached this to you for a long time. Not you, Chad, but Chad Kelly, of course. If you're under duress, man, it's okay to throw the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to eat the sack.
In certain situations, it's okay to eat a sack, but in most situations, just get rid of the ball. Just throw it out of bounds. You don't have to throw it at a teammate, because then you're going to increase the likelihood of the
But there'll be sometimes when he's under pressure, he sees the sack coming, he can't do anything else, so he just chunks it up in the air.
In those situations,
don't do that.
In those situations, throw the ball out of bounds.
It's get it out of there. But yeah, it's little things like that add up to losses, and that is what has added up to losses in the second half of these games. Because teams are adjusting to what Ole Miss is doing in the first half, and then Ole Miss is not compensating for that. Right. They keep doing the same things, and they're not adjusting their offense accordingly. At least it doesn't look like it. I mean, they don't seem to be that way. Maybe they are making adjustments, but whatever adjustments they're making, it's not working.
And in the past 2 weeks, I mean, we've seen wide open receivers dropping passes.
Yep. They have not helped their quarterback out.
The offensive line has not blocked well.
No, they haven't. He's been under duress.
Linebackers and the members of the secondary have not been able to tackle well.
Out of position and not wrapping up.
I mean, really, And Chad Kelly's underthrown balls. He had a bad interception after Ole Miss recovered a fumble this past week. After Marquise Haynes destroyed Etling.
Exactly.
Caused a fumble, just like the Jalen Hurts play.
Had it, first and on the 9-yard line?
They were still like the 35.
That was the other one.
And in the first play, he just throws it deep to the front corner pylon, and his wide receiver had the defensive back beaten.
Yeah.
But Chad Kelly didn't put the arm into it.
Yeah.
He just threw it up high, but it didn't get enough distance. And so LSU picked it off at the 1 or 2 yard line.
Yeah, you have to throw with purpose. It's like everything else. You can't take a play off. When you're the quarterback, you certainly can't. You have to be dialed in every single snap.
The one constant bright spot on this team from the beginning of the season until now has been Marquise Haynes.
Absolutely. I mean,
you can throw in
Breland, player of the year.
You can throw in Breland Speaks. That's understandable, but just we can say the defensive line.
Yeah.
Well, we can just put that out. Best spot on this roster, defensive line,
exactly.
All the way across.
They have played with the most consistency of anybody.
But everyone else has to step it up.
They do. I mean, and that one unit alone cannot carry this football team. It's not possible. So, anyway, that's it. It's been a sad edition of Fins Up Podcast.
Yes.
We're hoping this Saturday changes that.
Which has been too common recently with the loss to Arkansas.
Exactly.
Loss to LSU.
Yep. So everybody support your team. Get out there and do that. You can follow us on patreon.com/sportsclash. You can follow us on Facebook at Fins Up Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Fins Up Podcast. Get involved. Follow us. Look on YouTube at Fins Up Podcast, our YouTube page. Like the video. Share the videos. Give us some feedback. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Do you see where we're coming from? Or do you think we're not truly seeing the heart of what this team is? Or are we totally off base with what we're talking about here? But let us know. Let's see what you think. Catch you guys next week. Hotty toddy. Fins up.